Hi, my name is Aria Warren, and today I'm going to be discussing one of my favourite modern day poets and her bone-chilling collection, which is called If My Body Could Speak. Blythe Baird is a viral spoken word poet, author, actress, and teaching artist. Her true power is the ability to take the words off the page and give them layers of emotion through the spoken delivery of her work. I have not only purchased her book and had it signed, but have also watched all of her recorded poetry sessions and have made contact with this American inspiration via Instagram. What I love most about Blythe's work is how vulnerable it is. Her poems discuss her personal experiences with all too real topics, such as rape, sexuality, and eating disorders. Although the struggles she faced are all completely different, her ability to surround them all around the theme of body was, in my opinion, absolutely beautiful. While reading her book, one of her poems only consists of one line, while all the others are lengthy and fill the pages. This solo sentence reads, "If your body could speak, would she forgive you?" This short question was quite abrupt and put towards the middle of her collection. It really stuck out to me as being the core theme that she has structured the poems in this collection around. By referring to the body as a she, Blythe personifies the body and plays with the idea that our bodies are capable of speaking. Of course, it left me wondering what my body would say if it could speak to me. The idea overwhelmed me as I began to list off all of the ways I have mistreated my body and all of the ways I have allowed others to disrespect my body. This is what inspired my poem titled "Body Forgive Me," which you can read in my creative writing portfolio. My poem discusses all of the things that I need to apologize for putting my body through, and all of the lame excuses I used to justify my actions at the time. After writing this poem, I felt so much relief and more connected to my body and mind and spirit than ever before. It was after writing this poem that I messaged Blythe and thanked her for sharing her stories and allowing herself to be vulnerable, so that people like me could find a voice. It was this particular collection of her work that also woke up my inner feminism, that I had never really explored before this. Many of her poems discuss how men have treated her and used her. The poems leave you feeling rather disgusted and sad for all women who have been sexually assaulted and raped. In her poem, "I Have Run Out of Compassion for Wolves," I have chosen to share my favourite lines. The first line says, "Perhaps this body belongs to the first time I was raped," and I think about how fucked up it is to begin a sentence with, "the first time I was raped." Once again, Blythe visits the theme of body, except this time she talks about her body belonging to her worst experiences. But my absolute favourite part of this poem reads, "A few hours before one of my best friends raped me on our college campus, we talked about astral projection. He couldn't understand why I wanted to experience it so badly. Why would anyone want to leave their body?" It was this segment of the poem that inspired my life writing piece titled Astral Projection. I loved the way Blythe openly mentioned her desire to leave her body at times. This is something that I also have experienced in my life due to a range of experiences that I won't talk about here. But I will say there are things that Blythe and I have in common. The difference is that I am not ready to share those particular pieces of poetry with the world, but perhaps someday I will find the courage to do so just as Blythe did. One other poem she wrote that is worth mentioning is titled "When the Fat Girl Gets Skinny." This particular piece inspired me to write about a friend of mine. This poem can be found in my collection and is called "Love Looks Skinny." It is quite clear that Blythe has inspired a lot of the pieces I have written and that her work really resonates with me. I think her poetry has had a large influence on my own style of poetry writing. A lot of my work is free verse, and just like Blythe's work, it doesn't fit a structure, but rather just comes out like how the thoughts in my brain do. I think this style of writing is modern and fits well when you're trying to express emotions or make a point clear. Just like her, I do write most of my poems to be read aloud in a slam poetry style. And after watching her performances earlier this year, I found the courage to do so as well, and actually read a lot of my poetry at AUT South Campus. I think Blythe's only motivation for her work was her pure love of creativity, which allowed her to unload many of her burdens. Writing is such a beautiful way to remove anything that is hurting you, and because of her bravery in sharing her art, many other women, just like me, have found a voice to talk about serious topics that should not be ignored. Thank you for listening.